Did he do it? Did Jack Parsons rip a hole into space-time? Did he break a hole into the veil? Did he open the door? That is what some have said, the scientist, the rocket scientist, Jack Parsons. Opening a hole, Mojave Desert, something, the witnesses said that something came through onto this side back there in 47, I believe. Rust is Dar Shadow of the Darkness live broadcast here on the Wednesday night. This is the 7th for those that understand SRA MPD and the chosen ones out there by the millions worldwide. They've all gone through, or at least the women, the girls went through Marriage to the Beast. That's tonight on the ritual calendar. So all the prayer warriors, all those joining up in Project Josiah, you can join in prayers. There's already been given to one individual, and it's all being hunted down right now, a vision of a little girl that might be used. And so there is an ongoing pressing to look for this little girl today before tonight begins. Shatter's live broadcast here on this Wednesday night, the 7th of September. You know what I got in front of me? This is crazy. I'm not going to give you the website. Not going to tell the website out loud whatsoever. But here's what the beginning says. Now, you know that this is Shadow of the Darkness. You know that this is about exposing, confronting, engaging, and dealing with the rise of radical evil. This week, the theme is the return of ancient rituals. Monday night, we went over past, present, future, and the effect. We went over the Mayan Aztec, the Nephilim connection. And there's all day, all out there now, you do Nephilim, there's no needed human sacrifice to constantly empower themselves to, in a real sense, in localities, enthrone themselves, as they did. Kukulkan, Quetzalcoatl. So we've talked about that tonight. Jack Parsons, Babylon Working, NASA, Aleister Crowley, Moonchild, Colonel Michael Aqunio, and let me just begin by reading you the most incredible advertisement that I've seen. This is an advertisement. It's on the web, but I'm not going to say where. It says, and I'm going to kind of paraphrase parts of this, little pieces in here, there, quotes. Are you looking for real easy to do, easy to read, real secrets of magic, sorcery, witchcraft, and casting spells? Now, there's going to be some real, individuals that are deep into the dark side. They're going to say, well, this isn't good or real. But the truth is, even a teenager going to the local library, getting a hold of the Satanic Bible, looking back there at destruction rituals and other rituals, and beginning to try them out and use them, many times that's all it takes to begin this process of the spirits coming over. Now here's what it says. Now you can master the art and science of commanding powerful supernatural beings, including fallen angels and demons and rulers of unearthly mystic dimensions. You can discover how normal people have learned to enlist the service of spirits, entities, and the elementals to get what they want out of life. Here's another one. Real magic and sorcery isn't for just any average Joe surfing the web. In fact, it may not even be for you. Let's face it, magic has a shady reputation. Now, it goes on to talk about their skepticism. It talks about how they began to get involved. And here's what it says. Yes, I actually perform successful spirit evocations and will show you how you can. But before, when they give a little warning, they're going to teach you how to evoke and command spirits, curse your enemies, understand the voices of nature, obtain prosperity and fame, to know the secrets of any person, to heal all diseases and ailments, to excite. And I'm reading this, and it's just unbelievable advertisement. Here's the advertisement. It's got pictures of a magician, the ability to cause any spirit to appear. It says here, to will appear in the form of a servant, to make them appear in the shape of any animal, in a human form. Here's another, ability to see into the past and the future. to know about troubles and things coming in the future. The ability to cause diverse visions. The ability to know the secrets of any person. Yeah, that's it. Powers to get into the heads of others. Powers to begin to send thoughts. Here's another one. The ability to cast diverse spells upon men and women. To bewitch beasts. To attract the spirit of money. To cast a spell upon the liver, the stomach, the throat, the head. It goes on. It goes on to connect this incredibly like Walmart ad of sorcery to Aleister Crowley. Here's what it says. The achievement of magical powers in which King Solomon spoke quickly became a reality for many of the newborn initiates, especially Aleister Crowley, pictured here. Talks about the powers that he had in unleashing, even killing others. It says here in the ad, imagine awaking one morning to new occult powers. You will draw your magical strength from the acute understanding of your divine right to summon forth and command spirits of this plane which you seek to enlist. Talks about you'll be able to learn to bend them, the powers and so forth, at your will. Access to the exact same knowledge used by legendary magicians and sorcerers. And they list here, Moses, Abraham, King Solomon, Aleister Crowley, Ron Hubbard, the Freemasons. He talks about his books being banned and these materials being banned from regular bookstores. And then there is a invitation for you to kindly, this is what it says, kindly read through the list. He's going to say this, listen, yes, for the first time since the pharaohs, you will want to partake in this extremely private hush-hush unveiling of King Solomon's famous magical abilities and procedures. Ceremonies to invoke and command spirits, seals to curse, call, and reward spirits, symbols to make spirits obedient, procedures to enhance will and concentration, knowledge to heal all diseases and ailments. We've said that. Now it's going to discuss so much more in this, but I'm really kind of amazed. I've not seen, we've looked at a lot of things over the years and even lately, but here's it's telling you can learn about the future, divination, astrology. You can conjure, command spirits at your bidding. Need to know about black magic, and on and on and on. And then it tells you what to do and how to be a part of it. And then you can get a free newsletter, by the way, in all of this. You can enroll right now, it says, and begin. Now, that's just one of these. Let me get this off my screen. I don't even want it any longer. This is one of millions of websites now out there. And you can go to website after website after website after website, and now you can see the ancient rituals. Now you can see those things that were once, even back in the early 90s, things that were in books that were confiscated, law enforcement got a hold of. You got them at, dark occult bookstores, and you got them in little places here and there. Borders bookstore going out of business, you can get them there. You can get them all over the place anymore. And I think what many don't understand, now those who are looking at them, those who are getting into them, those who are opening doors to them, I am very, very sure that they're going to open doors to learn how to talk to their angel guide, let a spirit in, learn how to astral project, learn how to, all these things that this one webpage said. Is well. The spirits that have helped bring them, guide them, lead the writing of those has been mammoth in the last 70 years. Yeah, based on that prophecy. So on the one hand, you have this massive push, and let me tell you right now, I haven't seen going to off the charts. Off the charts. What you look at and what you I'm looking here at our site, and I'm looking difficult what's happening, but Just so you know, if you're listening to this later on, there is something wrong with all that later on for you. And a day like this, and by the way, this has been a kind of a crazy day. You know, we've had some, another there in Carson City, there's some disorder. Now, when you have a mental disorder, like they say Jared does, the Arizona shooter, or like the disorder to stop you, I mean, they're mental enough to get a hold of weapons, to plot it, surprise people, able to do it. But you think that it's literally a mental disorder, a demonic thing? At this tonight, let me invite you to take time to even pray. As I would pray that during this time, God would destroy any and all demonic forces working in any listener's life over the radio else, and to make sure that looking to see if that is working now, and it seems like it is. It seems like it is. We're going to check about the rest. So send us a note email-wise to make sure we are live here on this Wednesday night. And we've got an hour, and it is, in our view, a supernatural hour where God is evidence of, depending on who's listening, depending on who's really sitting there and listening and hearing. I want you to know that dark powers are real, and dark powers and abilities and things the demons are giving, they're real, but they're lethal in spirit. I mean, they're going to hook you eventually in the midst of this kind of thing. So when you are looking for power, you are looking for help, you are feeling lost in the world, you are feeling lonely in the world, you're feeling defeated, you're feeling like you've been beat up, and the dark presence and all the stuff that is here. But I want you to hear again about a Savior you that's, listen, even this moment seeks you. For those that understand Jack Parsons, the Babylon working, those there at NASA, the NSA, and military, and those that would do, you probably know it's not in your life. It stands before God. You know, they think they know God is out there, but like a hard brick wall, they can't get through. You look at the occultist and Satanist and Luciferian, the opening of doors or dark rituals. You know, Jesus says that He is the door. You ever see the I ams of the book of the Gospel of John? You ever see when Jesus says, I am? That I am. I am the good shepherd. I am the way, the truth, and life. So you've got to, through Christ, be forgiven. So if you want to understand how it works, surely occultists know how they have to go through the workings, how to do that. But let me tell you right now that somebody has done something for you. An occult and satanic crimes law enforcement agent said at the police academy, publicly he said, to all those there, the blood of Christ and what He did at the cross sets you free. But the blood of human sacrifice and the blood in the occult satanic world brings you into bondage. So many have come to us over the years. They've opened up little rituals, other things. Spirits have come through. They have dabbled. Spirits have come through. They don't know how to get rid of them. On the one hand, it may be that you open a little door and they then look at you as, hey, you've given them a right. They're going to follow you. They're going to come with you. They're going to go. If you're going to be a ghost hunter and go to those, quote, paranormal places and houses and scary places and try to interact with entities and engage, don't be surprised that you get visited all the way back home by the very entities that you have engaged, called on, and tried to directly interact with. They look for doors. They look for rights. They look for curiosity. I wonder if that was what Jack Parsons did. I wonder, listen, if you understand Jack Parsons, then I think that's a good study because you're dealing with a scientist, a rocket scientist, a well-known person within the structure of NASA, the crater on the other side of the moon named after Jack Parsons. I had the locality here a little while ago, but that doesn't really matter right now. What matters is what he got himself into there in Pasadena. Now, we've been up there, and we don't even know the extent, and that's true of Aleister Crowley. That's true of many others. We don't know the extent. You got to understand how often and how addictive and how possessed individuals get in doing more rituals. They feel they're the ones that want to do the rituals. They want to summon the demons. They want the powers. They want the sex magic. They want it all. But they don't understand a lot of times that the drive behind that are the spirits on the other side, synchronized in cooperation with the others, that want an individual to open the door again. Pretty soon, the ritual worker, without knowing it, simply becomes the dupe of the other side that just is used like a bellboy, like a door boy, to just open the door again and again and again. You have no control over all of it down the road. You can believe that you do. You can be told by the dark side that you do, but you don't. By nature, they are seducers. By nature, they are supranatural in deception. By nature, they can morph. By nature, they can transfigure. By nature, they can alter voice. By nature, they can and do lie. So when I think about Jack Parsons, I think about an individual, again, connected with Ron L. Hubbard, the founder of Scientology. And I don't even have time to go into the interactions with Scientology to what, to me, seems like just simply a sanitized version of occult and left hand passed up. It really does. A way of... anyway, that's another story for another broadcast. The connection, though, and especially, again, Mojave Desert. I met some dear folks at the conference in Missouri from the location that said that they had an incredible, and it sounded like horrific, spiritual warfare battle with the dark powers there. By the way, once doorways and gateways are opened in localities and spirits come in and they have locality, they have rights, a topon, a place, you got to understand something. Charged areas like that draw those who have other spirits. In other words, spirits in individuals, they know where broader doors are. They know where to lead the person to new literature, to open up broader doors. Spirits that come into individual lives, they want more to come in. More powers, more ability to stay, and they work to grant others access to this side. So whatever you read about Jack Parsons, you've got to understand how dark his own mind and heart became, his utter hatred of believers in Christ, his belief that he himself, the spirit of Antichrist, was coming on him, or that he was the Antichrist, that Christians had to be eliminated. Yeah, this is the rocket scientist. This is an individual, in everything that I've read, in every documentary I've seen, and those that I've talked to directly that have practiced the Babylon working themselves. Well, let me tell you something. He desired to see the annihilation of believers. I mean, there was, without question, this the spirit of Antichrist, the instead of Christ, is not just the instead of Christ, though that's part of the Antichristu there in 1 John 2. The other side of that is you got to understand the seething opposition. You got to understand when demonized individuals and they are demonic presence manifests, those demons know who they hate. They know who real believers are. They can identify them. Just as demons inside of people can identify the demons inside of others. Just as demons in one person can synchronize with another demon in another person, another locality, or again from a ritual site or wherever, and guide the individual, prompt them to do rituals, prompt them to eventually write rituals that open the doors, that let more spirits in. Jack Parsons, it is said, may have gone out to he definitely went out to the Mojave Desert to an area that some say is the Area 51 now, where this Babylon working was done. Now, in conjunction with Hubbard, conjunction with a woman. And the whole issue was, bottom line was just to bring about a hybrid, to do a spiritual dark ritual that would involve the concept of conception in the spiritual realm, and then the bringing down of that fetus into the womb of a woman. The concept, in some people's view, is to be so possessed of the dark side that in the sexual union you transmit the demonic presence, and there is a cause of conception by the dark side, and there's an immediate. In some of their views, the belief is the human spirit is killed off because dark spirits take the place, and that the concept of backbred or new levels of Nephilim, I mean, you got to understand, whatever you think about Nephilim, that's what Jack Parsons was after in, well, Aleister Crowley's attempt of the Moonchild. You've got to understand that it is not a human, we did not conceive of this even back in Genesis. It was the fallen angels coming down. It was their engagement. It was their inception. It was their agenda. And please understand that agenda has not stopped, nor in giving people and to lead them to right doctrines, to lead them to do things. Let me bring a warning in the context of this discussion tonight. Because I'm sharing with you tonight, but I'm looking at my own screens here, and they've gone haywire a little bit. And as far as I know, we are clearly live and speaking, and things will be recorded and we'll be able to put it out for you. And I'm thanking some dear friends. I'm just looking up here and noticing that they're hearing us clearly tonight. So despite the machinery around me, praise God. And again, we'll say it clearly, the blood of Jesu Christu, Jesus Christ. Cover everybody listening. And this night, God, stretch out your hands to deliver little girls and others in the marriage of the beast. Radically rip open the spiritual protection that covens and others are holding, and supernaturally deliver victims and others. I pray that you'll lead prayer warriors to pray with great power tonight during the rest of this evening. And so in this interaction, you got to understand, when I say this is a spiritual 1 hour providential thing, that involves at times spiritual warfare. That involves those who do remote viewing, do astral projection, summon demons, send them. I mean, some of them send stuff in the mail with the blood and everything else. But sometimes, well, on our side of the fence with the Spirit of God in us, you don't think we can feel it? You don't think we can sense it coming in? You don't think we get a heads up from Christ? Remember when Jesus said to Peter and nobody else understood? I mean, he said, Simon, Simon, Satan has just asked to sift you as wheat. But I prayed for you. So I just ask my Savior, my Lord Jesus, to interact with those that are doing what they're doing. Teach them a lesson. I pray, destroy the work of the enemy, 1 John 3:8, and Jesus just save individuals. When I think of Jack Parsons, when I think of Aleister Crowley, when I think of Colonel Michael Aqunio, maybe you'll get to listen to this. Maybe somebody monitors enough, like some of you that do the monitoring of every single show we do, every single speaking engagement we bring out. I know you're checking. The Circle of Dominion came down from Cleveland, pulled in my driveway after a weekend death ritual, blood-oriented. They came down to see if I was dead. Far as I know, I'm still here. Not sure about them. The connection, Jack Parsons, NASA. Did you read the backdrop to NASA? NASA is packed with Masonic symbolism, occult symbolism, deep Luciferic symbolism. What about von Braun, the Nazi scientist, used, but you don't understand the depth of his own connection to the dark side, raising of spirits, To a lot of the Nazi scientists, interaction with non-human intelligence was science. It was a high science of engaging entities and looking for their insight, their knowledge, looking to gain their mentality of seeking the extra-dimensional non-human intelligences was all about gaining in the area of science and technology and military development and powers and abilities. That's the way they were led. How about those at Fort Meade? How about the remote viewers? When I listed off a lot of the sorcery occult promises in one of those websites, please, you can go to SciTech, a remote viewer website, and you're going to find some of the same promises, some of the exact same promises, and you're going to find finally the acknowledgement that it's not just a human endeavor. Stop, listen. That there is non-human enhancement. The collective unconscious, or the Akashic records, they mention it. It's not me saying that. It's not speculation. Even Ed Dames in his latest book, Tell Me What You See, in the beginning and the end of the book has acknowledged this outside occult, or now he doesn't want to call it occult, he doesn't want to call it demonic, but just this outside realm, this universal library of information. Again, he has no idea. Now, if that's how the dark side wants to communicate and wants to masquerade that it's the great library of the universe, you know, that the Egyptians and the pyramid builders and the rest, they all got their information from that source. So did Edgar Cayce, by the way. But whether you go to the dark occultists that promise powers and entities and sorcery, or whether it is the sanitized versions of psychic abilities of getting out of your body, or listen, it's one thing to go out by the power of a demonic entity on you. It's another to just simply open your head, go passive. That's the way I was trained in the end, the beginning of the end of the 60s and early 70s, back in Golden Buddha. Oh, you don't understand. Buddhism is deeply versed in spiritism. You got to understand that. Buddha's dead. I never met Buddha. Buddha never touched me. But the entities in connection with the pursuit of the other side, they're all over the place. All over the place. Jack Parsons recruited others in NASA. Jack Parsons, who did some of the most unspeakable dark rituals, sex rituals, completely given over, deeply secretive. We only have probably 10% of what really went on. And there are those that believe that in the explosion that it was those, he was revealing too much, he was getting out of control. And there are many that believe that he just didn't accidentally die, but that he was taken out by higher up. Those in the Black Brotherhood. And I'm talking about dark occultism. So the Babylon working out there in the Mojave Desert was all about summoning the whore of Babylon, the book of Revelation, the prostitute. The idea that there is an entity out there that once evoked, invited and summoned can, while the reading is going on, there is this spiritual presence that will come in and transfer and be in the midst of the sexual act. While the occult reading is going, sometimes while the twilight language is being read. And the goal? Well, the creation of a superhuman. So a lot of the SRAs worldwide, they're in Germany. By the way, I just got notes from some prayer warriors in Germany interacting with an individual that's in all kinds of churches there in Berlin, but may be a high-level infiltrating chosen one. You know what a lot of them are called? Or they know the terms very well? BWBs. Remember the term. BWBs. Babylon working babies. Counselors working with DID, MPD, SRA, that background. And the reason we mention it so much, well, there's 40 million first generation. second, third, and fourth generation. 100 million. Now, they have for 30 years packed the psych wards, millions and millions and millions of dollars in insurance money, by the way. Is there a connection in all of this to that? Well, Michael Aqunio, he absolutely understood and knows MK Ultra, mind control, the splitting of personalities. Michael Aqunio, founder of the Temple of Set, once member of the Church of Satan, and once a friend of Anton LaVey, the founder of the Church of Satan, author of the Satanic Bible. Here you have somebody in U.S. military, by the way, that has connection to the NSA. You know, why do I get individuals that I'm dealing with that say that there are people that they have as friends that are connected to the NSA that do rituals, not in the sense of just, like horror, bloody, slasher film type rituals, but they're looking at it the same way Von Braun would look at it. They're looking at it the same way maybe Himmler, the Hall of the Dead, the 13 Skulls, where SS leaders would go in to meditate and to seek the opening so that these other ancients could come and then communicate. Point of contact, the skulls, the prepared skulls. Michael Aqunio goes to the Hall of the Dead, that castle, the Himmler Castle in Germany, to do a ritual. Why is he drawn there? Why does he want to go there? If you understand left-hand path workers, they look for already charged places. They want to go to where the demons have already been raised. They understand portholes. They understand gateways. Many that have gone down to the Mind Temple areas, they understand that that's wide open down there, that spirits can be contacted. And especially with the drug, ayahuasca and others, almost at will. But what they do not understand and what they do not tell you is that the spirits all along have been multiplying their efforts exponentially to draw individuals. The massive undertaking on a global scale is unprecedented. Predicted by the Spirit of God, unveiled by God, and shown. God has given us the future. God has given us the future in prophetic revelation, showing us in detail exactly what is working out right now. If you understand that the future, like a road, we're on the road right now, but if I was going to Cleveland, it's going to take me over an hour to get there. Columbus, about 2 hours. So I'm on the road, I'm traveling and traveling and traveling and traveling and traveling. You and I are right here right now, but there's a destination, the future. Even in the last 36 minutes, we've traveled from the past to the current, and we plan on going the next 18 minutes into the future. In 18 minutes, we are moving into the future. Things can change. Interactions can occur. Other information can come out. I'm even off my notes tonight because of the interaction that I feel that is going on and what needs to be said. Trusting God for an extraordinary miracle. God, the physics of God, infinite. The physics of the fallen cherub, finite. Oh, they're both real. One flows from the nature of the God that loves and redeems and reveals himself. One flows from one who hates God and will do anything to recruit anybody, anywhere, any place, and will revel in the sacrifice even of children. Maya, Aztec, Roman, Druid, Sumerian, Babylonian, Nazi. The SRAs worldwide, more information come out. And all those that are working with SRAs, if you move into the position of saying, you know what, we're gonna have to step out like Josiah. We're going to have to step out like the spies of Israel. We're going to have to ask God to bring verification, and God will do that. God will bring you face to face with perpetrators. God will bring you to the places where the rituals have been done. God will even lead you to the areas where you can disrupt. God will lead you to find victims that they know nothing but prayers. They're inside themselves crying and praying for someone to be sent. Jack Parsons had no idea of this. The Babylon working, was it really his? I mean, this is flowing from, generation to generation. It comes from Aleister Crowley. I mean, Crowley the beast, Crowley the pervert, Crowley the... why do many Crowley as this massive magician, as if he is to sit on a kingly chair and be bowed down to because of all that he's done. He died crazed, insane, maybe diseased, sick, in poverty. He did a ritual with his son, and his son died. Nobody knows for sure what occurred, but his son died. His little daughter died. His relationships were terrible. His commitment to drugs and sex of any kind and perversion and do as thou wilt meant for him anything he wanted to do. The doors that he opened. I don't want anybody to miss what I'm going to tell you here, because what I'm about to tell you, I have not yet read anywhere. I have not read anywhere. Now, in doing some of the research today, because between Jack Parsons, the Babylon Working, and NASA, here's what my belief is. There are those in NASA that do, because they don't have God, they don't have the Spirit of God, they do, if you want to think of it as lighter level Masonic ritual stuff, if you want to think in terms of the spiritual connection between, the crafts that are built, the symbolism that is used, and the individual sources behind the science, the technology, one of the premier individuals, von Braun, you've got to understand he was one that sought the spirits. He is one that engaged the dark side. When you have scientists engaging the dark side, checking out certain drugs that open the doors to entities, if you've got the NSA, National Security Agency, if it's really true that Dan Sherman sat in some kind of machine equipment, and he claims that as he worked as an intuitive for the NSA, that he had to be, by their law, the passive recipient of extra-dimensional, non-human entities' information. He was to receive information being communicated and then handed to the NSA. Crowley, of course, was engaged with a lot of deceitful games. Many feel that he was a betrayer of Britain, and that those behind the scenes in military intelligence used him. But it doesn't stop there. Let's just touch quickly on the Amalantra working. Crowley, of course, born 1875. Do you know the day of his death? Do you know the day of his death? Now, I've got an article here that I will mention, the website. I think this person's done pretty good, by Daniel V. Budelian. I believe that's the way you'd say it. Budelian. And this is back in August 2003. And he gives some good insight. There's a lot of, again, you can find a lot of information on this right now, but there's something that I'm not sure that anybody's put together yet. The Englishman Aleister Crowley, I'm quoting, quote, was one of the most notorious occultists of his day, and perhaps of modern times, self-styled as the Beast 666. Why anybody would want to be called the Theoron? God describes as almost a non-human, vile, violent, animalistic destroyer of human life. Now, it says here, quote, he wrote a number of textbooks on ceremonial magic, most of which are still in print today. He also founded and was head of a number of occult fraternities. Some listening to this right now are part of some of those fraternities and have that connection, even the secret ones behind the scenes. In short, I quote, listen now, in short, he exerted a significant influence on occult circles that has continued to grow dramatically long after his death. Now, I've been saying that for a few years. I can tell you one time we're doing evangelism. We're out on a Friday night, one of our team trips, and we're doing ministry, and we literally at a bowling alley sharing Christ and engaging individuals. And I engage a 14-year-old boy, and we begin to talk. And he pulls out of his pocket an Aleister Crowley deck of tarot cards, wrapped perfectly in this like cloth. He unfolds it carefully as if he had some kind of sacred object. He told me that his mother was training him. Can you at 14 years old open the doors to the dark side and let spirits begin to operate? Can you at 14 years old have the spirits that are in your mother begin as familiar family spirits, generational spirits, begin to move on you and move the mother to open the doors to the dark side to you? Well, we could ask Jack Parsons if he didn't at an early age get contacted and or contact dark spirits. That's the history of his life. One of the magical workings, they call it the Amelancher working. I'm going to give you the quote from here. Quote, in January through March of 1918, Crowley began a series of magical workings called the Amelancher workings in furnished rooms in Central Park, West, New York City. It's where the Amelancher workings began, New York. My friend in New York is up there in the high places praying over. I'm talking about the godly places you've chosen to pray over the city. Great. Aleister Crowley, 1918, in New York City, Central West Park, New York City, practicing what now affects hundreds of thousands of others, the Amelancher workings. These were, and I'm quoting, these were performed via sexual and ceremonial magic with the intent to invoke certain intelligences, quote unquote, to physical manifestation. That's what the Amelancher working was all about. To get them to actually appear, to get them to actually come across. Do we understand this? Do you understand the abyss and when it's going to be opened? Whatever it is, I mean, the key, the idea of authority, a right is given, and the key is open, and that which is in the abyss that desires to get out, well, they're going to come out. And as the Greek shows, they come down upon the earth. Except for the seal of God on those that God dwells in, everybody else is in trouble. Where do you stand? You have the Spirit of God in you? Do you know the living Christ? Are you born of the Spirit of God, or will you go down in flames and be lost forever? I quote again. Aleister Crowley doing the Amelancher workings in New York City, Central West Park, with the intent to invoke certain intelligences, wherever he did it, unless somebody closed the spiritual door, the door's been open in New York. Everywhere voodoo, everywhere a boker, everywhere a priest, everywhere somebody has opened a door, the door remains open. The spirits that have been given the rights through the laws of engagement to come to this side, they're still around. You wonder why the cities grow dark, cold, sometimes poverty-stricken, financial difficulties. You can feel it in the air, yeah. Here's what it goes on to say. In actuality, the workings typically manifested as a series of visions and communications. Here's what it goes on to say. Be that as it may, at least one such intelligence, one of these beings, was brought into physical manifestation via the magical porthole they created. Unquote. Quote again. A porthole in this context is a magically created rip in the fabric of time and space. The veil, simply that, the veil has been opened. A doorway, the Greek word topon, the idea of a foothold, a ride, a door. The entity that came through that, they literally pictured, they drew it down, they made a picture of it. You ever see it? Lamb, L-A-M. Lamb. Big, gigantic, gray head, little eyes, little nose, little mouth. Looks like the Greys. Aleister Crowley did this. He included a portrait of it in his Dead Souls exposition. Well, I can't even say the word today. Exposition held in Greenwich Village, New York in 1919. 1990 is when my grandparents from Yugoslavia came over. Now, I'm giving you all of this backdrop to let you know that, again, 99% of the population doesn't know about this. Probably 99.99% of the New York City back in 1980 didn't know that this massive, massive doorway was being opened. And didn't know that down the road, what is called the Cult of Lamb, L-A-M. Now, here's where we move further with it. From Jack Parsons learning from Aleister Crowley, from all that they knew, then with Hubbard and Cameron and the Mojave Desert, the Babylon working. The goal of what Crowley called the Moonchild. The bottom line, the redevelopment of Nephilim. Now all that is being attempted again in Mojave Desert, United States of America, by a scientist who recruited other scientists and rocket scientists from NASA. They called 4 of those men were called the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. You don't think high-level scientists in the DIA, CIA, NSA, NASA, you see, you could be Einstein for all that matters, but when your soul is empty, your knowledge does not compare to the information, the knowledge, the ability of non-human entities, the demonic realm, the archai, the exousia, the cosmocrator, the poneus pneumonicae, Ephesians 6. You have no idea of the ruler, the archon, the ruler of the power of the eros, the immediate dense atmosphere, the realms in which many scientists are now trying to get into. Quantum science is being connected to opening the veil. This was prophesied even by the ascended master, fusing with Alice Bailey, writing through her in a book that is entitled, by their dictation, The Externalization of the Hierarchy. The idea that they are going to progressively, evolutionary, manifest in the world. There would be a spiritual synchronicity that they would develop. This is back in 1937. You got to understand the broader picture. Step down from there to the human beings that we know of that were used, and then understand through their works, like with the Amalantra working, the Babylon working, the doorways opened, or the doorway that even Colonel Michael Aqunio did. Why is it so secretive? Why do others high up in military want to hide this out and hide out the fact that he has deep connection to and friends with the NSA? Anybody in those agencies trying out some of these workings? To see again how it can be weaponized. To see again if you can gain intelligence, information, technology to create. I mean, you got to understand, some of these guys would want the otherworldly information to create technologies that are not yet on the market. There's a lot of money to make in that too. Anytime you get anything from the other side, you get them and their hooks. How are you going to get rid of them? Aleister Crowley goes down in dark, miserable flames, but his work didn't, because the spirits that guided him continue. Let me give you the association here now. When did all the alien stuff occur? United States, about 1947, right? Somewhere right around there. I mean, what Jack Parsons did is one thing. There's no question that the testimony of those involved claimed that he ripped a hole into space-time and that actually something literally came through it. Let me just say the biblical fact. If you open the doors in whatever kind of ritual, specifically blood-oriented, they who desire it, design it, all you're doing is literally following the dictates from the other side, though masked, though designed in a way to excite you. Kind of like a cough syrup for little kids. When you were a little kid, you used to get that cough syrup that made your whole body shake. My mom had to run me down throughout the house to get me and force me to take that cough medicine. Until they coated it with grape or cherry. Until it tasted like candy. If it tasted like candy, you didn't care about the medicine. Rats, when they eat specific poison, as long as it tastes good, they don't worry about it puffing them up and killing them a little later. But you who've taken in the demons, light level or deep, dark, may Jesus unveil and unleash his hand in your life and deliver you. I pray you get out of it. 1947. Aleister Crowley dies. Everybody in the occult world knows this. Listen carefully. When anybody who has been deep in the dark side with opening the doorways with many demons in them, Mark chapter 5, 144,000. I don't know. It says the entity says, "My name is Legion, for we are many." That is their mode of operation, to get many in. Inside and on and with and around and through Aleister Crowley, there were many. A massive depositing. That's even the book of the law. That's written. That is direct demonic doctrine. Didache daemonoia, directly given from the entities to be used. And as those who are reading them now, they're using them. They don't realize they're just simply reading what has been inspired by that side. And that side will then begin to supernaturally operate on individuals in those readings, just like with Alice Bailey's writings or Helena's writings or 100 other authors we can listen. 1947, Aleister Crowley dies. Aleister Crowley's loaded with information, loaded with demonic presence, loaded with entities all through him. What happens when a human being with tons of demons in and on and with dies? Do the demons die with him? No. Do the demons go down into the casket with him? No. Do the demons stick with a dead, rotting corpse? No. In many cases of dark practitioners, it's already plotted out that a ritual will be done, especially in satanic ritual abuse. The Nazis, the Black Flamers, you understand this very well. Old, 80-year-old, dying Nazi Black Flame originators. You know what they're going to do? They're going to take the next generation, draw them in. When it's time to die, there's going to be a ritual done in which all the powers and all the knowledge and all of even some of the soulical side, the personality side that has been mapped out by the demonic is going to all of a sudden then flood into the next generation. In that ritual, there's going to be a transference. That power, that demonic presence, they don't want to go out into arid places. They don't want to be out there again. They want to be in. And so many in the satanic ritual abuse world know that they have been handed down the demons, the powers, the information, the abilities in direct ritual format. In Aleister Crowley's death, 1947, one wonders whether some ritual was done, some agreement was made. The very bottom line would be this: he died, and the major number of demonic entities in and on him throughout his life of opening the doors and receiving them and letting himself be used and them be used by him, they went out from him. Where did they go? I mean, even his concepts of Moonchild, all of these things that are in him, this whole doorway, the Amalantra working, the opening of a gateway, and this entity that looks like graze, lamb. All the spirits, powers, and abilities, if not handed down to another generation through a ritual, if not seeking the Aleister Crowley grandchildren and great-grandchildren and great-grandchildren, which they do, they could have gone to a targeted location. They could have spread out. They could be operative. They don't die, they continue. You know, left-hand pathers, you die, you lose your soul. They're already eternally fixed. They're not worried about anything. I mean, they worry about the judgment. There's no question the demons know about that. But when a left-hand pather like this dies, when Hitler died, a few moments later, you ever read the Word of God, what the Spirit of God says? It is a destined that a man wants to die. After that, the judgment. Open your eyes on the other side. I wonder if you feel the chill running through the spirit body. lost forever. I wonder if it comes to your thinking then, what have I done? I wonder if all of a sudden the reality of what the demonic really is hits you for the first time in your Christ-rejecting, sin-latent life. Whether you're from NASA, whether you're from the NSA, whether you're from Michael Aquino's camp, this is Russ Dizdar, shatterthedarkness.net on the web. Jesus of Nazareth, His power, His grace, His mercy seeks you. Turn to Him, come to Him. Keep us in your prayers, especially tonight. We got a late night show tonight at 11 o'clock. Keep us in support. We thank you for that. Good night.